it's Jennifer returning here for part 2 of Lilith and the final boss fight. So where we left off in part 1 was talking about the work I did in recovering memories with Abaddon and Santa Muerte. So I was turned over at this point to working with Lilith again, and so it's time for the final boss fight. And who is the final boss fight with? Why, I've got to final boss fight myself. And this is part of the spiritual evolution. It's part of the process, and I am nowhere near complete with it, but I thought I'd give you the update of where I'm at right now. So what this has been is an ongoing, this has been, I'd say probably I'm about 2 weeks into this at this point. It's been fucking intense. Holy shit. So Lilith has me doing the final boss fight against myself. Now, kind of imagine, like, okay, so sometimes I use gamer terms because I used to be a gamer girl. So like what this kind of is like to me, I used to play World of Warcraft back in the day. So like, I think of it like the final boss fight in Wrath of the Lich King with the Lich King or the Lich King or whatever. And it's like when you're doing that final boss fight, you have very well choreographed stages of the fight. So what I am boss fighting is myself. And all of this is to destroy and rebuild and reconstruct and reintegrate myself into sort of like moving towards apotheosis and ascension. So like the first stage in this was, not gonna lie, my negative self-talk game is pretty on point. So it was like, no, we're not doing that anymore. You're battling that. You're confronting every single negative thing you tell yourself, you believe about yourself, you talk about yourself. You're confronting that. No more excuses. And one of the most helpful things, now this goes back to my, the therapy battle of the past 12 years, is one of the most, or one of the types of therapy I found that worked really well for me is something called narrative therapy. And basically kind of what that is the way you look at yourself and the things you think about yourself and you talk about yourself. It kind of has you rewrite the story of that. Like I think, I'll be like, well, yeah, people tell, I'm pushy, or I'm, I'm too much. Well, who told you that? Who told you you were pushy? Why do you believe that about yourself? Because a lot of times people tell you those things and it sticks with you. You can call me any name in the book, but chances are if you called me pushy, I would have a complete fucking breakdown about that. You can call me a raging cunt, bitch, cow, fuck, whatever. I'd be like, all right, whatever. I don't care. Be like, yeah, she's nice, but she's pushy. I'd be a hot mess sobbing on the floor. So I had to confront that. Do I think I'm pushy? No. I'm direct because, and some of this goes into my neurospicy stuff, but like I'm very direct about things because I don't function well in gray areas where things are vague and there's a lot of ambiguity and lack of clarity. So I prefer to be very direct about things. Sometimes I can be kind of blunt. That just kind of comes a little bit on the neurospicy territory. I don't intend to be blunt, but sometimes I can be. But I've had to fight for a lot of things in my life, so I'm not afraid to use my voice to ask for them. Sometimes people find that pushy or intimidating. And, again, that's a you problem, not a me problem. I've had to fight for myself a lot and advocate for myself. So, I'm very direct. And joining us tonight is Corey the cat. Y'all love him. Anyways, hi, Bubby. So I'm very direct, but sometimes people find that intimidating because I'm not insincere about things. I don't mince words. I don't sugarcoat things. I don't blow smoke up people's ass because I don't like when people blow smoke up my ass. So, Corey, why are you trying to steal? He's trying to steal a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Really, Corey and the peanut butter and jelly sandwich, or it's one of those stupid, what are they, Uncrustables or something. Yeah. Where was I? So it's and we're back to the, and who told you that? It's a lot of the things we talk about and we feel about ourselves and think of ourselves, and our negative self-talk comes from, those things come from other people, whether it's parents or partners or friends or things over the years. Like, who told you that? And whether it's, I'm loud. Okay, well, thanks, Dad. My dad likes to tell me I'm loud and I don't shut up. I'm like, well, in my defense, I live alone. So when I'm around people, I talk a lot. And unless I'm making videos and or yelling at the cats, I live alone. I don't have anyone to talk to most of the time. So I talked to a human today. So I have friends I do text and message and video chat with and whatnot. But I talk a lot, and that's part of my personality. Should I beat myself up over the fact that I'm loud, or that I'm direct, or that I talk a lot, but there's things that make us feel self-conscious. So I had to battle through a lot of that shit, not to get into the whole nitty-gritty of all the things I had to battle through in the negative self-talk, but it's all these different things, these trials that I'm having to go through with Lilith, of defeating myself, the old self, the negative things. And it's exhausting, let me tell you. But also within this, there's a lot of things that are that have been and are being revealed to me. And, just as like I was describing in the previous video, where Abaddon split me open over the abyss and kind of poured me through and reconstituted me. In one of the more recent boss fight battles, try to figure out how to describe it because it was so multi-layered. And unfortunately, I've done a shit job at writing all this down, which I should be. I'm at least making this video so I have a point of reference for it. Things are really chaotic right now with the moves. So, but in this one, I'm explaining the separate part of it first and then go back. So, there was at some point, oh no, I know what it was. So in one part of it, she had me confront my fears and some things, or latent fears, and also had me experience several other people who I know do work against me, their energy, their magic, their power, their skill. So I know their energy signatures. And so I can see their power and know that there is just that I don't have anything to worry about. And, I've been working with other practitioners and stuff like that. Because not for nothing, a lot of my shit's packed up. So I feel a little, ass in the air, ass hanging wide in the air, vulnerable at times, because it's like I have to clean up my house and whatnot. But I can tell when shit's going sideways. So there was a funny incident when someone was trying to spy on me in the astral realm, and for what I was like, or dream work, astral, and I was on a bus talking to two people, and I saw this person. I think they might have thought they were disguised, and I didn't, but I saw exactly who it was. And I have some protections set up to kind of the repercussive protections set up on the astral to prevent spying and people scrying on me. I love the fact that I live rent free in your heads, but really, guys, I nothing you. I don't even hate you. I don't like you. I nothing you. You literally mean nothing to me. So the fact that I live rent free in your heads is just kind of sad. Really kind of sad. Anywho, but as I saw this person spying on me and recognized exactly who they were, um, when the bus stopped, they left up grabbing their ass, ran off the bus, and proceeded to violently and copiously shit themselves in the middle of the street. I'm like, yeah, that's what you get for trying to spy on me in the astral, motherfucker. But being able to see and sense energy in that way was, again, it was something, a lesson. Like I was able to see, I'm like, okay, this person has technical skill. Like anyone can pick up a tarot deck, get a book, maybe take a course and learn how to do tarot readings. It's a technical skill. Not everyone can do intuitive tarot readings. And like, not for nothing, that's where I shoot myself in the foot, because I can do the intuitive, but I don't have enough confidence in the intuitive part that I want to do it exactly how it's in the book, and like, what the interpretation of it is in the book, not necessarily how I'm interpreting it. So you can learn a technical skill. You can learn astral travel. You can learn how to scry. You can learn how to do the runes. You can learn things like that are technical skills. It doesn't mean that you have power or magic or whatever, that you're all that powerful because of that one thing. It's a tool in your arsenal, but if that's the only tool in your arsenal, it's pretty, and there's a lot of people who siphon their energy off other people or groups of people. So being able to understand, and then also seeing some people who kind of claim to be all that in a bag of chips, that I'm like, you ain't shit. You might have some technical skills. You might have some people working on your behalf, but you ain't shit. You might have been. You used to be connected to the spirit world. You're not anymore. Because the way some of them are, like, they've betrayed the spirits they claim to work with. And yeah, you don't want to do that. How's your life going? Yeah, not so great, actually. Anyways, that aside, that was one stage of it. It was doing that. And I know there was one point after doing that, and fucking hell, I wish I had message of it. It was kind of like, imagine sort of an emanation, almost, but like a 3D emanation, like a statue kind of thing. And it's like every time I would look at it, would fade in, fade out through all the different like dark goddesses and stuff. And then Santa Muerte came bursting through in her own way, but separate from that, because she's just different in that sense. But it was like every time I look at it, would be like the Morrigan, it would be Astarte, it would be Kali, it would be Lilith, it would be Hecate, Freya, and so on and so forth. And it was just like, fading in, fading out through these emanations, which was really cool. I'm trying to piece together, through all the chaos, my guest star, Corey the cat, and everything going on with the move, the line of succession in all this process, because this has been kind of going on a daily basis for the past couple weeks. So the last big piece, and like, so a lot of the final battle with myself is personal things, like, the negative self-talk, or, confronting fears, confronting the different parts and stuff like that. So some of that's kind of personal. It's neither here nor there. I don't know that I need to include all of it in this, but some of it has also been trying to address and get back those memories on the sense of self, and looking at some big picture things, because there's a lot going on right now that I don't quite understand. And I'm a little like, holy, what the fuck is going on here? Like, I'm kind of at the point where I realize, like, sometimes I joke about being an interdimensional being, where it's like, I feel like I'm in the veil, and just kind of at any given time, I've got one foot in like the realm of like the underworld and the realm of the dead, one foot in the celestial, infernal. And, I'm just kind of, I'm here physically, but like, it just kind of starting to be I'm still trying to understand it. That's the best way I can describe it for now. But so within this part, now the first, I remember some kind of like side quest with Abaddon, the Angel of Death, I think the Archangel Azrael, and Lilith. I'm not sure what we were doing, but oh, we were reaping people to feed to the abyss or something. Um, but as it came to this point, we were on this. This some sort of liminal space. I can't even like. I wish I could. I wish I could dump it out of my brain to kind of tell you what this was like, but it was like I could just imagine. Let's just take a physical place, like the Grand Canyon. So along the perimeter of the Grand Canyon, it was like an emanation of all the gods and goddesses, angels, demons, any kind of spirit that you could possibly imagine. And the first part of this was Lilith instructed me. She's like, choose the form of your final destroyer. And Kali Ma appeared. And I wasn't devoured by Kali Ma. I was just sort of absorbed into her essence and experienced what I can understand now to be a sense of ego death. It was like I have a very active brain. It does not shut the fuck up there. I'm trying to record this video and I'm having like 20 different conversations in my head. Anyways, so it's not quite up there. And I went to that state when she absorbed me. It was like this expansion of just being. There was no mind, there was no past, present, or future. It was like existing, but also not existing. So in this space of which there was no ego, no attachment to physicality, to reality, to fantasy, to anything, to the, I don't know how to explain it, but it's like I went into that like elongated state of just being in that no mind state. I don't know how long it lasted. And then I went into like a 6-hour death sleep. I can guesstimate that it was about the 6 hours because of the time at which I know I went upstairs to lay down and when I woke up, so and came back downstairs. So, but it was just a state of kind of being. It wasn't a dream state. It wasn't anything. It was just kind of like there but not there, not really not consciousness, just being, like something that exists that's just, here's this roll of stickers. Does this roll of stickers have sentient thought? Is it doing anything? What is its past? What is its present? What is its future? Where is it going? It just exists. Now, what I decide to do with it, if I decide to peel off this little piece of tape and put the little sticker on the thingy, then has a purpose and does a thing. So, again, it was a huge integration of that. In the final boss fight, I hit the ego death state, which reminded me, I mentioned the final boss fight in Wrath of the Lich King, and there was one part in it. I'm trying to remember because it's been a long ass time since I was probably over 10 years since I played World of Warcraft. Where part of the final boss fight, now you're spending all your time trying not to get killed, but in this one phase of the boss fight, part of it is getting everyone in your group getting killed and dying and resurrecting. So it's kind of was like I hit that sort of stage of it, of the boss fight of me. I think there's still more to go, but what was in this now within this realm, I was kind of explaining this in two parts, where I got the explanation I'm going to do my best to kind of try to describe this because big things. Um, so it was kind of like all the gods and goddesses and spirits, whatever you want to call them, were there. And it was like explained to me in this grand cosmic sense of, the journeys we go through in life. Because I'm always like, what I'm always kind of like, why me? Why didn't you give me this janky body that's full of pain and all this trauma and all this bullshit and whatnot? And it's like, you need to go through this. You need to go through the journey. Look at our stories. Are any of our stories like all like roses, smiles, and sunshine and perfection and whatnot? No, they're not. They're full of chaos and destruction and love and horror and loss and trauma. And it really put things into perspective for me. And they're like, there is no differentiation between gods and goddesses and deities and angels and demons. Those are words humans made up to try to describe things they don't understand. They can't wrap their brain around or understand and attempt to trying to understand. And it brought me back to one of my favorite quotes. I love Babylon 5 is I forget what episode it's in, but it's something to the extent of the closer you come to defining God, the further away you come from knowing God. And I always kind of thought about that. I'm like, there's some truth in that. There's stuff that's supposed to be unknowable. We're not supposed to understand. We're not supposed to define this. And that's a lot of the problems in. And it gave me just this like perspective because I look at the world we live in and all of these uber religious people. I mean, even people in the witchy communities too. It's like I look at, like the religious right and stuff like that and what a lot of them are doing. And I look at them and the hate and chaos and destruction they're preaching in the name of God. And that's been through the course of human history. I'm like, they're attached to the physicality of a book and the words. They don't know God. They don't know Jesus. They don't know any of this. And I just felt this sadness for them that they just they're so fervent in their religion and their spirituality, but they do not work with spirit like in the way that we work with spirit. And I think if they did, you wouldn't try to be killing people using words from a Bible that was written, 2,000 years ago by who the fuck knows what. Interestingly enough, as as a sidebar, when all these, spirits and stuff appeared, and I was just kind of like baffled by it. I was like, Jesus Christ! And literally, and this is the first experience I had, literally, Jesus Christ came up, was like, kind of in almost a comedic kind of way, was kind of like, yeah, I'm here too. But what they were kind of trying to a story they were sort of telling was and even like through the story of Christ is that they all were mortal at one point, or I don't want to say human necessarily, but through the process, and this doesn't happen in one lifetime, and through the stories that were told through generations, because so much this goes back to oral tradition. I mean, when you're going back, thousands of years, and a lot of things were lost over time, is that they went through these, whether you're looking at things like the fool's journey or the hero's journey or things like that, is all these things they went through became the stories of how we came to view them as divinity. And while we're on that subject, there's really no difference between, energy is energy. It can be, there's elemental aspects to energy, of course, but like, and this was something that was revealed to me a long time ago, where there's no difference between God. There's no difference between God and Satan or celestial energy or infernal energy. It's all just energy. And it's all interrelated, and it's all part of the same micro and macrocosm at this point. It's all part of that. It's everything. So what this is kind of like they were sort of showing me, I'm like, this is how we achieve, we became gods to you. Is through that process of apotheosis and ascension, through our stories, through our fables and mysteries and lore and folklore and all of that. It's not, and some of it is archetypal, obviously, because there is sort of a collective consciousness when it comes down to things, especially when you're looking at everything as part of energy. And we all can move towards apotheosis and ascension and becoming, however you want to get, whatever word you're comfortable using, becoming divine, becoming infernal, becoming a god, becoming your god self. And like in this terms of like, and I never thought about this as someone who was raised Catholic, like, you know, Jesus born as man becomes God. It was that through all the trials and tribulations and stuff like that, that there was that ascension. We all can ascend, all of us. And a lot of that involves shedding away in that. Like I leveled up at some point in here in the spiritual awakening game because it's like I look around at the world, I'm like, why are people fighting over these things that don't matter? We're quibbling over terms, where we're fighting, you know, one person wants to gain the moral superiority of the other. I'm like, why do I care what this person thinks about this? You know, but you know, it's people are so caught up in all these little things, and they're losing sight of the path and the spirituality and the move towards this awakening, towards apotheosis, towards ascension. And it may not happen in one lifetime. And you can't just, you know, thump yourself on the chest and call yourself a god. There is a process to it, and there is so much work, and you may never finish it in an entire lifetime. It may take you 100 lifetimes to get through it, because everyone's on their own journey. Even the most piece of shit, fucked up, you know, magician out there, that's part of their journey. I mean, look and be like, well, have fun with that, but um they're not there yet. They might think they are. They might, you know, brand themselves as such, as chosen ones or incarnate deities and things like that, but or living gods and what goddesses and whatnot. But you can't just give yourself a title, and it has to be earned. And you can evolve and devolve. And some people hit a plateau. Some people just won't get there at this point. It might take them another lifetime or two. And especially, you know, looking at, you know, karma's a whole other aspect there. So it's, I'm sorry, I got really deep on this one, but the past the past few months has been a whole lot in Gen Land. That's probably why I've been a little quieter on the video side, because it's been a lot. I am exhausted, not only from trying to move myself in the business and take care of everything. I've got all this shit going on in the background, you know, and it gave me pause, and it gave me, I'm thinking about things in a very different way now. Like I was so angry at Christianity, well, Catholicism, and specifically because of my uh, upbringing through it and education and such. But like, it's like I feel bad in a way now. I'm like, I have like, here's the grand irony. As some Luciferian satanic witchy poo, I feel like I have a better understanding of God and Christianity and Jesus Christ and the Virgin Mary and all that than I ever did when I was going to church and going to Catholic school, and there was some weird ass irony in that. Like Satanism made me understand Jesus in a good way. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. Because I don't even know at this point. I'm sure I will hit the like, bat crap insanity part of the final boss fight. So I'm not quite there yet. I mean, I think the ego death part was like where I get to the next level in that, because it's all just stages and stuff. So I will keep you up to date on what's going on in Jen versus Jen, the final boss fight. But yeah, it's working with spirit in the way that I work with spirit. It's every day. It isn't just lighting a candle. It isn't doing a ritual. It's integrated into your life as a whole. And it's something that's it's a lot. It's a lot sometimes. I mean, holy crap. I mean, and I I got nothing at this point. Like I'm kind of like I've gone through the meat grinder a few times. And my it's like you think you get to that point of being like, well, I'm spiritually awake and whatnot, and then you're like, oh, I had no idea. Okay, there's some next level stuff going on here. Okay, holy fuck. So I am in a process not only of my healing and trauma integration and all of that. I'm also in a massive spiritual awakening integration, and buckle up, it's going to be a wild ride. I think that's more of a message for me than you guys. Anyways, I love you all. Don't forget to click like and subscribe. And when I have more to add on this, I will. I love you all. Thank you so much for watching.